50 years old. I'm 50 years old today. Can you believe it? Half a century. Half a century! I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this rest out here in the green grass in the park, it's much deserved. I'm 50 years old now. Welcome to Six's Overdrive. Yeah, today's my 50th birthday, so I'm just chilling in the park. I'm just resting. I deserve a rest at the age of half a century, right? So I think today what we're gonna do is go around and show you 50 things that made me the man I am today. In other words, 50 things you may or may not have known about Six's Overdrive, or as my friends call me, Ken. Whoa, before I get too carried away, my wife just phoned me in my helmet and told me that she's picking me up and taking me to my favorite restaurant in the whole world, Taco Del Mar. Before I go off telling you about this list of 50, I gotta tell you how amazing my wife is. Check out what she did for me. Isn't that incredible? Let's go look at where I first lived. So, that's it. Right after the hospital, that's where I came to live for about 8 years. After that, we moved to the other side of town, stayed in a house there. In total, I moved to 4 different places before I graduated. My father was a carpenter, and well, a carpenter, draftsman, and general contractor. I kind of took over the trade. That's what I do now. So right there's 5 out of the 50 that we just crossed off the list. Let's show you where I used to work. So my #1 job, I started out working at a school, building an addition on a school. And so now you can see why I'm in construction full-time. I guess it was predestined to get that job. But then after that, I actually got to work at the drive-in movie, which turned into this movie.
Well, I'm not getting a cold.
Oh, no. It's just probably a little drive-in dust, that's all.
drive-ins no longer around. This theater is way bigger than when I used to work at it. We used to have, I think, 4, and now I think it's May Cinema 6, or did we have 3 theaters? It wasn't very many. I think it was 3 theaters. 1 big one and 2 little ones. And I used to change the signs and everything up there for it. As you can see now, they've added on a lot. It's quite big, and yeah, they got along without me. Then after that, I worked at Pizza Hut. I worked at a greenhouse, shoveling manure and fertilizer, and the Pizza Hut job didn't last very long, but those were the ones basically through high school. Then after high school, I got busy. I worked at a turbo gas station, and then at nights, I would be a hairdresser because I went to cosmetology school at Estelle Academy in Edmonton.
Welcome back to my cotton candy wonderland. We got the pink, we got the blue, and we got the crown.
And yeah, fun times. I was like one of only 3 guys in a class of 40, so that was actually pretty fun. Got finished doing that. That hurt my back. I became a restaurant manager. After I became a restaurant manager, I sold cars for about 10 years. After I sold cars for about 10 years, I came to help my dad with a condo project he was working on. And then I started general contracting, which brings me up to about now. And now I also do social media management for local companies in Lloydminster. And yeah, and I do the construction general contracting at the same time. So that killed a whole bunch of birds with one stone. I can't even think of how many birds that killed with how many stones, but we're gonna count them off for you on the screen.
If you're going around killing birds with stones so often that you need a more time-efficient way of doing it, that is an obsession.
All right, maybe next time, what do you guys think? What were some really different jobs that you had? Put it in the comments below. I read everything and I always get back to you guys, but it'd be fun to have a bunch of comments below about the funny places that you work. I think next we'll go down to the local hospital and talk about injuries that I've had in my life. And not all of them are on motorcycles. Look at this guy parking his hot hatch like he's all that. It must be a doctor or something. Focus RS looks pretty blingy, doesn't it, guys? Anyway, guys, so this is our local hospital. And if you want to see me, I'm way over there in the mirror. Guys, this is the place I've been a few times, but surprisingly not too bad. When I was a little kid, I came here with a broken collarbone because I fell off a chair. In my time, I've broken my rib a couple of times on motorbikes. One was a real slow fall, and the other one was about 70 kilometers an hour doing a flying eagle through the air back when I owned my Shadow 1100, back when I was still driving cruisers and not realizing that they could go as fast as I wanted to safely, which is why I switched over to these. Then what else? I broke my pinky on a real freak one just about 2 years ago, or a year ago. 2 years ago. Anyway, I just fell off a paddleboard and I got up, my finger was feeling funny, and it still hurts to this day. So yeah, you know, couple of ribs and stuff like that. A lot of really close calls, but not too much. And fingers crossed, because there's no wood to knock on, but I hope I stay away from this place for a long time. And now that we've knocked on wood and crossed our fingers and everything, let's talk about my family. Best part of my life other than God. So I have, to my immediate family that I was raised with, I have a brother, and he lives out in Cranbrook, BC. My father. My mother died when I was only 15 years old of cancer. So that was a little bit of a sad story. But that's it. I had grandmas and grandpas up until I was probably about 30 years of age. Then my father got remarried after I'd already left the house, but we're pretty close to the siblings in that family. There was 3 others that were brought into that. So then I got married. I had a divorce, and within 1 year of getting married, I got divorced. We dated on and off for 7 years. I should have known, you know, you don't break up that many times and have it be right. But then I met the girl of my dreams. That was now 16 years ago. We just celebrated in February our 16th wedding anniversary.
and she's great. An absolute stunner, and all that in a bag of chips. My goodness, she is something else, that girl. Like you saw before with the birthday party she threw me and everything. Just outstanding. Like, she just works so hard all the time, and she's so beautiful. So we started out with one boy, and then 2 years later we had another boy, and that boy was a little bit delayed in achieving certain milestones. And by the grace of God, we found a newspaper that told us, that described everything, because this condition is very rare. It's called Angelman syndrome, and that's what he had. And we had to wait a few years to know whether or not we could have another child, because there's a chromosome deficiency of the 15th chromosome, and if depending on how it works, there's different variations. My wife or I, depending whose chromosome was turned on or off, we could have easily had a 50-50 shot of having another child with Angelman syndrome. And although we love him to death, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So we decided to wait until we found out that it was a random chance that we had Ty. Our blessing from God was absolutely random. And so then after we finally found that out, that took a while. That took 4 years until we had our last little son, Cash. And he's now going into grade 8, because this is the summer now and they're off of school for a little bit. So that's my family. I've got lots of in-laws and everything now, but I'm not going to count them a part of the 50, even though my in-laws and stepbrothers and sisters and brother-in-laws and everything else are super cool. Great people. We get along good. We go camping together. We do tons of stuff. So it's all cool. I could easily count them in the 50. If I run out, I might have to. So that's my family, everybody. So a lot of you know that I'm very, 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 very into music. I love it. I always have in my whole life. My mother, before she died, God bless her soul, she taught us piano, and she took us to voice lessons and everything. And now both my brother and I, you know, we can stick with a band and do stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm in a band now called the Milk-Fed Turkeys. You can look them up online. It's not much to see. We're a cover band that does weddings. We've been together for 15 years, and I'm the second youngest guy in the band, so the rest of the guys are all teachers. I'm a Christian. That's another thing that maybe somebody doesn't know, because I don't broadcast on the channel. I don't want a lot of controversy. This channel is about motorcycles and Coca-Cola and me having fun. And not that being a Christian isn't fun. I thoroughly think it is, but a lot of times it opens up to theological discussions that I just don't want to have on a forum like this. So I don't talk about it very much, but I'm very much in love with my God, and yeah, and that's Jesus Christ, and that would be probably about the most important thing in my life. So guys, I think that's pretty close to 50 things that we've covered between all my jobs and everything like that. We'll see what we're up at the counter, but I haven't been keeping track, so if you're waiting for number 50 and we're stuck at 4, I'll have to come up with another video to get it into there. But anyway, guys, I love doing these videos for you, and if you like watching them and being a part of them, it'd sure be nice if you could share, like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell, however they're making you do it this year in YouTube, and come back and visit often. This is Six's Overdrive, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, there's people taking pictures at the... It always, you know, we all make fun of these border markers, but people just love this stuff, right? Like, they're representing survey markers, and you can see that people are kind of checking it out and seeing how you can see through them, and that's supposed to be the true border. However, when we put them all up, we found out later that that wasn't exactly where the Alberta-Saskatchewan border was, so they're kind of useless.